Tom, thank you so much for joining my videocast series. It is always a pleasure to talk to you. I always like to talk about how we met, which is through a mutual friend. I feel like historically we've known each other probably our whole lives through my dad somehow, but like not knowing each other. So it's very cool, full circle that you came into my life and you're building this business. And I'm so grateful to be here with you. So thank you again for joining. Tell us a little bit about your business, what you do, and what you're up to.
My name is Tom, and I run 613 Home Care Services, as well as Cena Medulla. And what we do through 613 is we provide home support for seniors and adults and individuals in the Ottawa community, in the Ottawa Valley, and just helping seniors stay empowered and stay independent and provide meaningful and genuine empathetic support, whether that's through PSW and personal support services. We do companionship. We do meal assistance, meal preps. We do basic housekeeping. And myself also specialize in palliative and end-of-life support. So we offer end-of-life care in various capacities as well through Cena Medulla.
Wow. So what inspired you to start 613 Home Care Service?
So having worked in the field for probably a decade at that point, I saw there was a need in Ottawa, or in general, there's a need for more support and genuine support. And I think most importantly, reliable support. We found that there certainly are avenues available throughout the city, but the issue that we often hear is that it's different people every day, or it's not consistent care, or that people aren't coming at the time that you need them. And I think it's important to meet people where they are and to listen to what they need and how we can match that. At the end of the day, with our support individuals, especially if you're going into someone's home, it's important to be mindful and respectful, and you want to show up when people need you most.
Yeah, I love that. Can we talk about the death doula stuff a little bit? Because I think that's a new space, or newer space that a lot of people don't necessarily know what a death doula is, if you're open to talking about it.
Sure. So death doula is not necessarily a new concept. We've been doing palliative support and palliative care. The word doula itself is just the Greek word for helper. So similar to birth doulas, we now have death doulas. And so I myself will come in and will support individuals through their palliative journey. So sometimes you can have a palliative diagnosis 2 or 3 years before you're actually what we call actively dying. And so that the support through a doula like myself could be grief support, or working through just some of the emotions and the grief that comes with such heavy news, and then working on legacy projects and memorialization. And as things get closer, I've been with individuals who helped write obituaries. We've done memorials. We've written letters to families and spouses, voice recordings. And then again, when they're there actively dying, I'm present. And whether that's naturally or through MAID procedures, I'm there and available to support the individual as well as the families and some of the most vulnerable and difficult times of our lives.
Yeah. Honestly, the work that you do is incredible. And I think there's 0.1% of the population that could do that. I feel like I'm always thanking you for doing the work that you do, but it is really so important. And I'm sure it's so helpful for so many different families that are going through hardships. But before even like the death doula stuff, but even like the home care side of things, finding somebody that you trust and that's reliable, that you're like, yeah, come into my house, come take care of my mom, my dad, my sibling, my loved one. So building up a business, a reputable business that people are comfortable referring friends and family to. For me, I love watching what's happening within your business, because word of mouth is the best form of a referral or for a business or a client. And it's obvious that through the work of you and your team that people are recommending your services and want to come, I don't want to say come back, but sometimes obviously they have to come back if there's the other spouse or whatever that is, a family member. But it says a lot for the business that you're building and again, the people that you're helping. It's great that the Ottawa community has you. And it's also just like the fact that you're a smaller business, that it's more handpicked and personalized services for clients, right? There's so many of these larger home care businesses that it's like they send anybody who's available, and there's a lot less of that personalization, which I think is really what sets you apart from some of the bigger players in the space.
Thank you. Yeah, that's sort of was the motivation. Initially, it was that myself in the field, I specialize in Alzheimer's dementia and in end-of-life support, which sort of the Alzheimer's and dementia had led me into the palliative field, or to the palliative world. And we just see that people need support and you want that consistent care. And so something that at 613 Home Care Services that we pride ourselves and we take a lot of effort is to match and connect individuals. And so when someone calls looking for support, it's having that meeting and hearing not only the care or the hours and the time that you need, but about the individual. And so learning about the person's personality and their needs and their abilities, and then therefore being able to match it with a suitable worker. And I feel very blessed that we've got a really wonderful team, and everybody's similar to myself, is that we genuinely want to make a difference. And I think that's really important, especially in a field that's now oversaturated with a lot of individuals who maybe not as invested as others, which is really unfortunate, because when you're taking care of a loved one or someone that's in a difficult place, it's important that you come in with an open heart and with empathy and professionalism.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. In terms of running a business, so I don't know if entrepreneurship was always what you thought you were going to do with your life, but what did you think running a business was, and what is it actually? What's the reality of running a business?
I suppose having worked as an individual or as a single entity and slowly growing into now we have almost 25 employees, which certainly has been a learning curve. I think one of the best decisions I made, knowing as I was growing, was reaching out to you, and you've been a huge integral part of myself being able to conduct myself in a professional manner, but also to learn. I remember from the beginning is, what do you do when this situation happens? What are your systems for in this situation? And again, when you're working as a single individual or you're working with 5 people, it's different than 20. And so learning to put the appropriate systems in place, having consistent procedures, only makes the workflow in general, and just learning again to adapt. We're constantly adapting. We're constantly learning. Things are always changing and shifting. People are coming and going in the healthcare field. That people are either moving into retirement homes, people are passing away. So there's always that fluctuation. And so learning just to adapt, and again, finding the right connection, of finding the right worker with the individual. Like myself, I feel very fortunate that not only do I run the company, but I'm also in the field 5, 6, 7 days a week. So whether that's through palliative work or visiting various locked units and secure units and visiting individuals with cognitive decline, I think being able to be in the field still is something that was very important to me. And so learning to delegate some of my roles, some of the tasks, or some of the things that need to be done, was also learning to let go of the reins.
Yeah.
Was something. I no longer do the accounting. I'm not doing the bookkeeping. I'm not doing the scheduling, and I have an office manager now. And these are all things that have allowed me to continue to thrive and see individuals on a one-on-one basis, which is something that's important to me, as well as to let the company run as smoothly as possible.
Yeah. And surrounding yourself with the right support is important to help you grow and scale your business. And then, like you said, putting the right systems into place allow you to more easily grow the business and hire people and whatnot. There's so much learning and growth that happens as an entrepreneur. And I think that there's some people, if they're not willing to learn and grow, that maybe entrepreneurship isn't the right path, and change. I've learned people hate change, but as an entrepreneur, you have no choice but to continuously change and evolve, right? And with marketing and digital, everything's constantly changing in that front too. So it's like keeping your pulse on it, or again, like hiring the right people to support you with that.
Yeah, you have to adapt or you get left behind. And that applies to any professional sense or in a personal sense. I think if you think that you're at a point that you know everything or there's nothing else to learn or achieve or succeed, then as a business, that's a recipe for disaster. And I think also on a personal level, you can always continue to learn and grow. You're always learning about your partner. You're learning about your kid. Your friends are changing and adapting. Your pets come and go. Things are always in flow. And I think that we need to continue. And I think it's important as a business owner to stay on top of these things. So whether it's learning about SEOs or now through AI, or figuring out staffing and then figuring out staffing programs and figuring out various HR policies and procedures. A few years ago, I wasn't even familiar with the term onboarding. And now we have a whole process for it. And I'm grateful for it.
Yeah, it's incredible. Okay, so throughout your business, have you have any aha moments, or like those either a big win or something that was more of a harder lesson that's changed how you run your business?
I think again, it's realizing how we have to continually adapt. The way I was running the business as an individual was significantly different. And the way that the company was running at the 6-month mark, as opposed to now, where we're close to over a year and a half now, of officially as an incorporated business with 613 Home Care Services, is that you just need to continue to learn and again, put those right systems and the right individual. So I feel very fortunate that I have an office manager that's been extremely helpful, and I'm growing and learning from her. And again, our meetings were absolutely, I couldn't be as prepared or as involved or as informed as I am today if it wasn't for your guidance and insights. It's getting that right team behind you and with you, and to stick with them. It's sometimes, like you say, don't have a few consultants say, okay, I got this. Continue to follow up, because every time we meet, I'm always, I didn't think of this, or that's a great point, or you're always learning from individuals who have had either similar experiences or experience, and you want to make sure that you learn from that.
Yeah, you got to surround yourself with people who know more than you. That in all aspects of life. I find it's like I try and surround myself with other mentors or people that are other coaches that have different trainings and skills. Again, you have to constantly be evolving and growing as a person and in business as well. I know you like to stay active. We all hit walls sometimes. So how do you stay grounded and get through some of the tough days?
I think, again, being grateful for what we have, for what I have. I think staying humble is something that's very important. I don't take anything for granted. I work hard every single day. At the same time, I'm looking out for my employees, for my workers, for my friends. It's important to just be appreciative of what we have and to continue to work toward your goals. And I always say the only thing holding you back is you. And so to just continue, if there's something that you want to achieve, then go for it. If you don't know how, then get those skills to do. And whether that's learning a new skill or a new course or a new language and whatever it is, then the options are available, especially now with virtual. There's so much available at our fingertips.
Oh, yeah. So, what's something about your industry or your role that people don't see from the outside?
I think the hard work that the PSWs do day in and day out. I think PSWs are overworked, undervalued, and underpaid. We know PSWs work hard per se, or they're in the facilities, or they're doing what they can, but they're truly the ones behind the scenes that are really keeping facilities afloat. They're doing the daily tasks that are often with very minimal support. There's the time shortage, and the physical and the emotional and the mental work that goes into it is extremely tasking. And so, again, I feel very fortunate that I have such a wonderful team that does show up every single day. And myself, again, who's also working. One of the objectives was that as I grow, was that I continued to work in the trenches, and I still am able to be and see clients. It's something that's very important to me, and something that feeds and fuels me. There's a quote that I always think of that motivates me every morning. I always think of that: those who bring sunshine into the lives of others cannot keep it from themselves. And that's what I try to carry myself with.
I love that so much. So, Tom, how has entrepreneurship changed you personally?
In one regard, I'd like to think I'm the same person I was a year ago or 3 years ago. But again, not that I carry myself differently, but I conduct myself. I've learned, again, the importance and the value of having a good team. And so, again, having an accountant that I can trust, or my office manager that I can say, please handle this, and knowing that it's going to be done in a conductive, is something that for me I had to learn as well, is that maybe certain wording or certain ways of how I handle things is I'm used to doing it my way, and others are not necessarily doing it incorrectly, but it's not necessarily how I would have done it, and learning to accept that. And I think, again, it's just learning from those experiences, and that only makes me stronger and wiser for the next one. And it's putting the right tools in place for yourself and for your employees, as well as just surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals that will help you succeed and achieve your goal.
100%. I agree with you completely. Okay, so what's next for you in your business? Is there anything that you're excited about that you can talk about?
Ultimately, we're certainly not trying to be the biggest company in Ottawa, but the goal is to be a trusted and known company, that our name is known out there. Again, it's been a learning process of getting ourselves out. We're a small fish in the pond. And so just people that know that if you want a different kind of support, or if you want to have a care that is a little bit different than some of the other ones, some of the things that we offer, like a video consult, I think it's important when someone calls and says, we want to have someone come into my mother's place, being able to have a video meeting and meet the worker. You can not only ask the questions, but you get to see the vibe, you get to see their character, and vice versa. So by having that bit of time and the connection to speak with the individual, ask those questions, it gives you a little bit of peace of mind and the confidence that the people that are going into our loved ones' homes are people that we ourselves trust. And I think that's something, little features like that, I think, are really important for that person-centered connection, because these are very vulnerable times.
Yeah. 100%. And also, you're utilizing the time that we're in and having the ability to use technology to connect with somebody ahead of time and do a discovery call, make sure they're the right fit. So you're incorporating things that you have at your fingertips, but also making sure that somebody is comfortable with the worker that's coming in, and again, making sure they're a good fit is such a good option for people that are like hesitant. And I know that a lot of friends and family and people that I've spoken to who have had to hire a carer, it's how do we have that conversation with my parent? How do we bring them in? They don't really think that they need to have somebody, right? And so it's okay, let's start with a conversation. Maybe they can just come in for a week here and there. So it's like doing it in maybe a slower approach for some people that are not ready to bring somebody into it. It gets them warmed up and sees that, oh, they're a person, they're here to help me. It's in everybody's best interest to have those conversations. So I love that an option for clients of yours to connect with people. And again, the fact that you're personalizing the care for the person and based on what they actually need, it's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's important to have that connection. It's when you're bringing somebody in, whether it's in a retirement home or in long-term care or in private in somebody's home, just to have that, to know that whoever's coming in, it's someone that you've already had a connection. It's not just somebody showing up at your door and saying, I'm here for my 8 o'clock shift when they're scheduled for 7 or they're scheduled for 11, already sets a precedent. So
Yeah.
I think it's important to, again, respect individuals and have confidence. If you have that chat with someone, then you know that they're going into your loved one's home that following week or the following day. You have a little bit more peace of mind of already knowing who's coming in there and the work that's expected. And
Yeah.
then we also do follow-ups after the first shift and throughout the contract. We always make sure that we follow up with the worker as well as the family, again, to know how that visit went and if there needs to be any changes, if there's any recommendations or observations that need to be noted. The PSWs coming in are the eyes and ears of the family, of the company, and they often report to ourselves, to the social workers, or so we can pass to the social workers and let them know that this is what we're witnessing when people are in the home. So
Yeah.
oftentimes people aren't even aware of what's going, or families or loved ones aren't necessarily sharing some of the stuff that they are with the worker that they would share with their, let's say, with their kids. And
Yeah.
so when the PSW says, oh, they've had a fall or they haven't eaten or the place is becoming a disarray, these are things that family might not be aware because the phone call, none of that comes up. And somebody
Yeah.
coming in, it's important to have that. We advocate for the loved ones when they can't be there.
Yeah. That's so important. Okay, Tom, if somebody needs to get a hold of you or your services and they need support for their loved one, how can they get a hold of you?
So the best is just through our website, www.613hcs.com is our website. Otherwise, info@613hcs.com is another one. Or you can also call us at the 613-617-4638. And we're always available. We try to respond as quickly as we can. And we're always up if there's any questions, inquiries, or there's never a silly question. We're always glad to help direct, and if we can make a meaningful impact. That's why we're here.
I love it. Thank you so much for your time today and sharing more about 613 Home Care Services and the amazing work that you guys are doing. If anybody needs some extra caring support for their loved one, please make sure to reach out to Tom and his team. Thank you again.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity.
Of course.